Yeah. When we go out, like I said, the bears in this area are very few and far between. So they're not really something that you have to worry about that much. I would be much more worried about coyotes or a pack of dogs or something than I would be a black bear. And I do usually carry a handgun with me, but that's not going to stop a bear.
No.
It's just not.
When I got out of the service many moons ago, I became friends with this guy when we were being discharged, and I guess he was lonely and, he needed a place to stay, and I went back to my parents' house for a while, and my parents let him stay for a couple of days. And he goes, let's go hunting. And I never, at that point, in my life, I never gone hunting before. And I said, well, okay, do you have a weapon? He goes, yeah, I got a rifle, and we'll go hunting. Okay, and he went and got his license, whatever it was, for bear tag or license, whatever it was. And I go, well, I'm not going to hunt. I'll just take my gun with me. And I took a .22. And I figured, hey, I'll just, do some, shooting off, popping some stuff, just for the fun of it. We get out where we're going to be. I think it was Black Diamond area up in Washington. And, he gets his gun. And I said, well, you got how many rounds do you have? One.
One?
I said, wait a minute. We're out here, out in the middle of nowhere on this logging road. You're going to go bear hunting with one round? And he goes, yeah, I'm a marksman, I go, yeah, we're all marksmen in the Army, aren't we? We eventually we hit our target no matter how many times it would take to hit it. Yeah, we would eventually hit it. The whole story is I went back to the car, sat in the car. He came back a couple of hours later and says, I didn't see any bear. And I think, oh, God, because I thought he was probably going to be dead. I tell you, I wonder how he ever made it through Nam. One bullet, one round to go bear hunting?
That just, I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, that just...
Nobody believes me no one believes me when I tell that story. I did. I tell people that story, and people go, yeah, sure, I said, yeah, he had one bullet. He showed it to me. You're going to go bear hunting, okay, for, one bullet. Okay, well, whatever. What happens if a cougar or any of those other things, come after you? Hey, I guess you throw the rifle at them after you missed them on your first shot.
Oh, exactly. No, I absolutely believe you because when I was in junior high, the school that I went to, we had an open campus. So we could walk to the Casey's General Store a block away and get pizza for lunch. So a lot of us would do that. It was basically the same price as the school lunch and usually tasted a lot better. So we'd switch to Casey's. And like first day of deer season, we are walking out of Casey's, and this guy is standing near the door asking one of the guys in my class, like this kid is 13 years old, that he's asking, hey, do you know how to load this gun? Can you show me how to load it?
Yeah, okay.
First day of deer season, he was going to go hunting, and the kid at first was going to do it, and I'm like, wait, do you want him in the woods with you? He can't even load his gun. Like, he's going to shoot somebody. And they're like, yeah, no, we're not going to show you how to load a gun. Nope.
Well, there's your answer.
Yeah,
there's your answer.
I completely believe you.
There's your answer why some people go missing in the forest, okay? You get somebody out there, it shouldn't be out there with a gun, and they're going hunting, right? And they shoot at anything that moves, and then they thought they got a deer, and they walk over, they shot another hunter. They just quietly walk back to their vehicle and leave.
That sadly does happen quite a bit. I mean, that it's sad to say, but yeah, that happens about once a year.
Yeah.
And it's, it's like, and the sad thing is people will take in like a goat into the checking station. See, I got my deer. And they're like, no, that's somebody's goat. One time they actually took a mule in. They had shot a mule thinking it was a deer. That didn't go over very well. I mean, it's like if you're out in the woods with a gun hunting, you need to understand and know what is out there and what you're doing. It just completely baffles me.
You mean somebody shot a mule and thought it was
someone? Yes, they actually took it to the check-in station to have their deer checked by conservation department, and it was a mule, and they were promptly cited. And oh yeah.
Yeah, they should have took his gun away from him, too. I mean, come on. There's a big difference between a deer and a mule, like a couple 100 pounds.
Oh, yeah. But people don't realize that. They're like, they'll come in from the city and think, I'm going to go deer hunting. It's the right color-ish. They just see a color through the brush and shoot it. And it could be a cow. It could be anything.
Yeah, their next door neighbor.
And yeah, that I just read a news story where somebody was convicted of shooting someone during deer season, this past deer season, and killing them because they just didn't pay attention. They just shot through the brush, and it was the person in their driveway. It's like, seriously, pay attention.
Yeah, I just like the people, they live in a local area, right? And maybe they don't live in the city, but that they can they take their gun out and they shoot in the woods, for example, but they don't realize how far a bullet can travel, especially like a .22, and it can travel a long distance if it doesn't hit something. So you could end up shooting in your backyard, thinking, well, gee, I got woods in between. There's not a house to a quarter mile away from me. Hey, I'm safe. I can shoot. And I knew somebody like that. And, I explained to him, I said, do you realize how far your bullet could travel? It can certainly travel more than a quarter of a mile. And
people shooting into the air. They forget whatever goes up has to come back down at some point.
Well, hey, that is good, though, because I hate to say it. There are some countries, right, when they go out and they decide they're going to cause a little chaos, they take their AK-47s, right, and empty a clip, right, like they got 20, 30, 40 of them, emptying the clip straight above their head, Yeah. I don't mind them doing that.
Yeah, at some point it's going to come down and take somebody out. It's like,
yeah,
really?
Somebody's going to have a bad headache, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, when the bullet enters the head and comes out your penis, you got a real problem.
Yes, that is a problem.
So getting into the series of the book one, why don't you tell the listeners about book one a little bit?
Book one kind of sets everything up. Lindsay Gold is a former deputy, and she's asked to come back in as interim sheriff when the sheriff quits abruptly. And just after she takes over, she starts to find there's something going on that shouldn't be. She starts getting reports into her office of, monsters and ghosts and all these things that when she worked for the department previously, they didn't get calls like that. So she knows something's not right. And as things go on, she finds out there was an incident on the local military base, and that her husband is actually in charge of the program that has caused this problem that's now going on in her county. Originally, she didn't know what he did fully because everything he did was classified. So, he works on the base. What he does is classified. But now she's finding out, oh, great, he deals with all these things that now I have to deal with. He's the reason that I'm having to work so much harder. So that then leads to them having to work together and contain the situation and solve the problem as the series goes on.
And it seems to multiply, between your first book, your second book, and the third book. Now, what's going to happen now after you wrote the whole series of books?
I am actually writing the prequel series to it. Everyone was kind of asking, how why are these characters like this? How did the sheriff's husband get this job? What does his job really involve? And I couldn't fit all of that into the original series. It would have been, 1,000 pages per book. It just wasn't possible. So now I'm doing the prequel series that goes from him starting in the military and then branching, kind of getting recruited into this secret organization, secret agency with the government that deals with all these monsters and cryptids and genetic experiments that are out there.
Interesting. But you don't have Mothman in it.
I might.
Well, you should. That's quite... do you ever get any reports of Mothman in your area? Because, I had a guest on a couple months ago, talking about in Missouri, Mothman reports.
I don't know that it's Mothman, but I believe it was around Nixa. There was a report of a flying humanoid type thing, kind of Mothman-ish. I think they said the wings were more bat-like on it. And then there is something up in the northern part of Missouri that's called the Van Meter monster that dates back decades. And it's almost like a local version of Mothman or the Jersey Devil. It was this winged beast that nobody seemed to be able to kill. It was seen. It was possibly living in a mine that was in the area. They weren't really sure. So there are reports of things like that.
Yeah, Joe Taylor's been on my show. He's, he actually reconstructs bones and stuff for different museums across the world. And he just recently was on my show talking about he ran into a lady in his area that ran into a Mothman. And actually, it was a friend of the lady that ran into it, saying that she actually hit it with the car. And the creature just kind of like stopped, and was just staring at her. And she said that her friend is that type that would open up the car door, which I guess her friend did, and started yelling at whatever the creature was, and it just kind of got up and took off. It's been a lot of reports of Mothman and all this stuff. Hey, you know what? The whole hour is gone. I'm sorry we started out rocky but whatever you did, you found that sweet spot in your vehicle. Yes, she's in her vehicle with her cell phone. It is flooded. So, I mean, it started off rocky because we didn't have a good signal. Where can they find your books at, kid?
All of the books are on Amazon in print and on Kindle. And you can find print versions on barnesandnoble.com. You can also have local bookstores order them.
And you want to go ahead and give the names of each one of them, the series of them?
The series is starts off with 51 The Beginning. It's 51 The Storm, 51 Monsters, 51 Secrets, and the last one is 51 Damages.
And they're published, through Archway Publishing?
The first one is Archway Publishing, and then the other four I decided to just go ahead and publish through Amazon on my own.
Okay. So you self-publish. Good books, people. I've got all the series of the books. They are actually a very good read. So what you need to do is go on Amazon and order, the one or the whole series of the books. Because I guarantee you, if you read one, you're going to want to read the rest of them. I don't know how she could do it, that series, in that shorter period of time, but she's done something incredible that a lot of people couldn't do. Very good read. And also, you're on Facebook. How can they find you on Facebook?
I have an author page, a group, and my personal page. All are under Liz Reader. I'm pretty easy to find. I'm also on